kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Well, hello, everybody. What's happening? Here we are. Tonight is Thursday, so that means it's the Thursday thick of it. I am GreenBean, and that is my good friend, Gunny. What is cooking? How you doing tonight, bud?
I am doing extremely well, GreenBean. I'm sitting here, a believer once again, an individual who has been a little pessimistic, I guess you can say, in the last couple of months. But now, as of this past week, I mean, long live Joe D. And I'm feeling pretty good about the direction the New York Jets are going into. So yeah, I got sucked back in. I'm ready to go ahead and get hurt again. I'm all in on the moves we're making. It's exciting right now to be a Jets fan.
I'll tell you, Gunny, that is one of the saddest little statements, little moments of groups of words I've heard in some time. I'm back. I'm bought in. I believe. It's amazing. You know, it's an amazing thing that they do. The Jets, I think we would be much better served, Jets fans, if we just realized that by and large, the business model of the New York Jets has nothing to do with playing football. Nothing.
No.
It has to do with how can we keep these guys spending money, which means believe, have hope. It's crazy because like we win enough games all the time. We have a dip and then we come back and we win 3 straight. We're like, oh man, if we win out every year, if we win out. What are you talking about? When's the last time the Jets won out? But Gunny's back. Gunny's back. I know Braden's back because he's in New Zealand, Gunny, and he's here with us. So Braden's back. Braden believes. You got Phil Adams. He's over there in the UK. Here he is with us. It's like, what is it? So it's 8:00. So it's what are they? 6 hours
ahead of us, right?
I think so. That's
it's ahead of us.
Is it 2 a.m., Phil? Right?
Yeah,
what is that? What's 8 plus 6? 12, right? I don't
12.
know. Yeah. So midnight.
No, that's 8 plus 6 is 2. You're right.
What'd I say? Oh, because we got 10.
12.
Right.
Yeah,
12.
It's 10.
So 12 would be 8, 9. Here, let's do it this. Okay, here we go. Right. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2.
2.
All right, I was right.
2 o'clock. You're right the first time. Yep.
Amazing. So, Phil is in. He says Clowney wasn't given a free breakfast sandwich, so he walked out the door. He said, what is this? Am I less valuable than Mike Williams?
He felt a little bit.
That's the tone.
He felt scorned. Like he didn't rate.
Wouldn't you?
He didn't rate.
Gunny, are you a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese guy?
I am.
I forget. Are you in New York or New Jersey?
Jersey. I grew up in Jersey.
Which part again?
So I lived in Camden for a little while, so right there, not too far from Trenton, as we all know. Like,
so you say pork roll?
Like, no, I do not. I've always said Taylor ham. In fact, the pork.
Right? Yeah, Trenton's Taylor ham.
Yeah, right. It's Taylor ham. So yeah, I'm a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese guy.
Nice.
I debate the pork roll thing. I don't understand. Somebody tried to tell me like, well, pork roll is the type of meat like a lot of other companies make it, and I had to remind them like, well, Walmart sells a lot of great value off-brand stuff too. It doesn't mean it's as good as the original. So yeah, I'm a Taylor. Yeah. I'm a Taylor.
I mean, do you call when you go get Doritos? Do you say I want tortilla chips?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, you don't. You say I want Doritos.
You get any kind of bullshit tortilla chips. Yep. Everybody knows. I'm going to shoot straight with you right now, Gunny. Everybody knows Doritos, tortilla chips are not Doritos, dude. And Doritos are not tortilla chips.
Exactly.
Jeremy's laughing his ass off. He knows. Jeremy does reviews on this
on
shit.
food, so he knows.
Brooklyn Brothers food review, if you guys haven't checked that out yet. He just did you see Jeremy's review on, he did a White Castle bites,
Oh,
like
yeah, the
pizza
little bite,
rolls.
little pizza rolls. No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
I saw him when he did the little burgers.
No, it was White Castle pizza burgers. Jeremy, 30 seconds. I'm going to bring you on. Just say if they were good or bad, how much so in 30 seconds. Okay. So White Castle is now selling little pizza rolls, White Castles in a pizza roll.
What?
Jeremy, how were they?
Yeah, instead of the pizza rolls, it's filled with White Castle beef and onions. They were bland. They didn't taste at all like White Castle.
Oh,
Did not
so
tell
it's
it was White
disappointing.
Castle. It tasted like if they were, instead of pizza rolls, little Mexican meat rolls, but it didn't have any taco seasoning. It was just ground beef.
Like, so either way, it's either a bad White Castle or it's a taco without taco seasoning.
Yeah, it's just bland.
In other words, your mother, when you were 8 years old, took a bunch of ground beef, fried it up in a pan, and stuck it in a piece of dough and gave it to you with no seasoning.
That's all it is.
That's what it is. It's your mother's ground beef. Hey, Jeremy, are all tortilla chips Doritos, sir?
No, just like, it's the same thing with Band-Aid.
Johnson & Johnson. The Jets. The most Jetsy example of all, everybody. The most Jetsy. We are all Johnson & Johnson because Woody Johnson owns the Jets. That's us. Do we call you know what their real name is Elastic Bandage. When's the last time you ran in and go, hey, Ma, you got an elastic bandage? Have you ever?
Never heard of that in my life.
Have you ever done that? No. All right, Jeremy. Thank you. So, there's another brand of pork roll that I like. There's a couple, and the truth is, you can fucking give me any pork roll, I'll eat it. But the real one is Taylor ham. But there's another one that's also, my time in Jersey, I would recognize Trenton brand Taylor ham. Did you know about Trenton Taylor ham?
I did not. In fact, somebody tried to call me out on Twitter talking about it's pork roll. Not to mention Trenton pork roll is the best, or Trenton ham or whatever is the best version. It tastes the best.
It's
I was like, I've never had it before, so I'm not going to argue with you on that. But it doesn't negate the fact that the original is still the Taylor ham, mac and cheese.
And you want to know? You want to take a shot? Take a good educated swing into the air on who owns Trenton pork roll.
Probably the same people that own Taylor ham.
Taylor.
Isn't Taylor ham also from like the main locations in Trenton also?
Yeah. That's like the main area. It's like just outside of Trenton. Yep. Yeah, that's the hub. That's the hub of.
It's a ridiculous debate. It's a
so
delicious sandwich.
We'll talk. Well, you know what? Look, let me say hello to some people, and we'll dive in all this shit. I'm really happy for MYJ Matt, dude. What a nice. He threw a dart.
Yeah.
And dead smack into the double bullseye, dude. He was on Good Morning Football. I saw them. They talked about MYJ Matt for 15 minutes.
Yep.
He
was
in
on
the
ESPN,
Ian
NFL
Rappaport,
Network, right? Everybody. Yep. He's been all over the place.
And that's look, because he's a good dude. Like, we've had him on been on a couple streams. He's been on the panel with us. He was on our draft stream. MYJ Mike too. MYJ Mike's a funny ass guy. Like, they're good dudes, those two guys, They have the Broadway Jets show. If you guys aren't aware of that, they do a show on YouTube called Broadway Jets. And so it couldn't happen to a better guy. It's just so cool. I'm really happy that the Jets kind of, they know him. They did the whole Jets Twitter thing. He was one of the guys they brought in for that show. And because it was him, that greasy ass bag made it through all the gatekeepers right to fucking Mike Williams'
freaking desk.
The signing table. It's crazy. And then Nick Mangold. You see Nick Mangold chiming in on the Taylor ham.
Yeah, on the Taylor ham argument. Yep.
Yeah, he's got it. Vibrate Higher. What a great name, Vibrate Higher. That's actually my whole gig. My whole gig is trying to raise my vibration. Not everybody gets with that, but that's my whole gig, is trying to vibrate higher. He's going to go, I don't know what you're talking about. I smoke weed. All right, whatever. But I'm just telling you, it resonates with me. Yeah. He says, I agree with Mikey Mush at this point. Taylor, grow over years. So, yeah, I don't think so. I disagree with you, Vibrate Higher. Eric Craig, my good buddy's in the house. It's nice to see you, Eric. Every time. I was with Eric last night. Eric's a good guy. Kenneth Zen is here. Philip Bogachuk's another one, another beanbagger. We were hanging out last night. Good dude, Phil. Phil Adams, as we talked about. We'll get to see what time it is. Phil will tell us later. He's like, it's 3 a.m. Shut the fucking stream off. Winterich is here. It is time. Indeed. Rusty Spooner, the great Rusty Spooner, back in the house.
What's up, Rusty?
Yeah, we got to have you on one night, Rusty. We know we do. Shawnee Rock, as I said, Braden is here. Cuca's in the house. Good to see Cuca. He's always good for a drugstore. Cuca likes to do drugs, he says. Or he likes to hear me talk about it, one or the other. Sneakers to boots. Yeah, good to see you. Andrew's in the house. Look at all you guys. Harlan's here. Matt Simon's in the house. Just want to show support. Well, good. Thank you for showing support. You're not hanging out tonight? One Jets pod. What's up? Randy's here. Yeah, man. Originally JD supporter that's never wavered. Right at Gunny Gumby. What? Let me ask you so. Let me ask. So I'm seeing some contingents out there. We'll start here. Here's and hello to everybody else. Oregon Jets, north of 45. All you guys are the best. You know what I mean? Alon Abatal Hypes here. J-Rod. But let me ask you, this is a thing that I see going on Jets Twitter particularly, but also in comment sections and under my videos and in Instagram, I see these conversations happening. So there are people that have been out on Joe Douglas for a while, and they're like, see, this guy sucks, and even the offseason that we're having is because he sucks, and we need to do this right now. If we was a real GM, we wouldn't even have to sign these guys. So there's that contingent. Then there's the side that, they wanted him fired and all that. But then there's the side, it's like, hey, you need to apologize about JD because look at how great of a job he's doing. We haven't won a single game. We haven't played a snap. And we're already apologizing to Joe Douglas for being upset with him for fucking doing nothing last year for us. You know what I mean? But why is it okay one way or the other? Why isn't it okay, I should say, to be a Joe Douglas supporter, which I am overall? I think last year's offseason was garbage, and the season was, if Aaron Rodgers held up, okay, they took a lot of risks last year. Dwayne Brown had to be good. Mekhi Becton had to be uninjured. AVT had to not get hurt again. We had Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall's knee, Aaron Rodgers, 40 years old. We had a lot of risks last year. Took a lot of risks, and it backfired on us miserably. And then he did not respond. So he had a bad year. And so why isn't it okay to say, and I'm not saying that you're saying it's not One Jets pod. This gives me a thought. Why isn't it okay to be bent out of shape about Joe Douglas and still be a supporter but call him out when he's doing shit you don't like? Why is it not okay to be in the middle there? Why, Gunny? Talk to me.
I think what it boils down to is, again, when it comes to the New York Jets fan base, I really do believe this. And I think we proved it again this week. There is no other fan base close to us. It's the New York Jets fan base. There's some gaps, and then there's everybody else. I think the fan base is truly that elite. And I think because of that, we're so passionate and we're so drawn into our team, right? We're literally interwoven into the fabric of New York Jets, everything Jets, that you can't speak bad about them. You can't. Some Jets fans are so interwoven that when you speak ill or bad about the Jets, it means you're not a real fan. It means your faith in the team has wavered. You no longer have the belief, and it's like if you
rooting for losses at the end, right?
Right. Exactly. Right. So apparently, that means you're the worst. And so I get it. I understand, the individual fans who are that. No, I refuse to go ahead and look any other way. It's just everything, just all the time. But sometimes you got to look at the current situation in front of you and be able to go ahead and kind of think logically, vice emotionally. And I think I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that one is better than the other. As content creators, we got to get up here and I'm going to talk to individuals and want to have a conversation. Sometimes you got to go ahead and be able to go ahead and take the emotion out of it. And at the end of the day, Joe Douglas we haven't seen the results. If we're being honest, we haven't seen the results. Has the man tried? Oh, yes, 100%. I believe he's put in all the effort in trying to rebuild the offensive line, bringing in Coach Saleh, trying to get this team to where it was relevant again. But the fact of the matter is, like, we haven't won more than 7 games under the Joe Douglas / Coach Saleh regime. It's a results-oriented business, and I think if we can logically look at it at that point, are we okay with Joe Douglas continuing to try and fail and just be 7 and 10 for the next 5-10 years? I'm not. I'm not. As much as I appreciate the efforts, and again, I am thoroughly impressed with what he was able to accomplish over this last week, because we all know when we came into this offseason, the New York Jets needed freaking 3 starting offensive linemen, a wide receiver 2. There were big holes that we were like, there's no way we can possibly figure all this out with the little bit of cap that we have. You know what I'm saying? Totally. The draft. He had it fixed. Literally every single hole we've been talking about for the last several months. He got an all-pro left tackle. He has a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle. And he has a right guard or a left guard who's up and coming, who showed a lot of signs of flashing last year. Like 3 legitimate starters on the offensive line. And then you go out and get the best free agent wide receiver on the market. I don't consider Mike Evans ever being a free agent because he wound up staying where he
wasn't. Higgins and Pittman, they never made it.
They never were. They never were. In terms of the best wide receiver option that is literally on the market to talk to, negotiate with, etc., it was Mike Williams, and it wasn't even close. And he got him for a deal where it's up to $15 million. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he got him to sign, because I don't think any of us for a minute believed the Tyron Smith contract was a real thing. $6.5 million, up to $20 million. How did he pull that off? So I'm going to give credit where credit is due, but I still believe we got to go ahead and hold somebody accountable. At the end of the day, we haven't seen the results of his decisions. Who are we going to blame because of that?
All we've seen is another smiling face, some good-looking fellas. Morgan Moses' beard is enviable.
Nice.
I mean, what a wonderful beard he has. Yeah. We see all these good-looking fellas coming to the Jets, signing that paper with bright smiles, and then we suck again. So it doesn't mean shit. But yeah, I think that was all very well said. And it's just an interesting thing. I like how you started it with there are fans out there that it's like, if you root against if in any capacity, criticize, root against, you're not a fan. And I don't buy that. I staunchly disagree with.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't disagree with that more. I think a fan's job, maybe because I'm a Jets fan and I grew up in a very, very hostile environment in Giant Stadium and shit. Back in the days, the way we treated other fans was not good, man. We were brutal to, we were never Philly. But,
no.
But I believe I have a thread in me, Gunny, that I believe wholeheartedly that the job of a fan is to bust balls.
Yeah, 100%.
And
the football players go out there, they destroy their bodies in representation of the New York Jets freaking emblem. It is our jobs as fans to not only support them, but to roast everyone and anyone that is not a New York Jets fan. We have a job to do too.
And if the player sucks consistently, I feel like it's our job to go, what's that thing we do? Oh yeah. Boo! That's what we do. Now calling his mother, and I think we've taken it up a little too far these past few years with calling people's mothers and harassing them.
I don't think much.
Far too far. But yeah, it's our job. It's what we do. It's the price of admission. And New York, particularly the Jets, because we're, even our crosstown rivals, the Giants, they're not us. They're just not.
No.
Giants fans are not us. They're mostly tame,
Yeah, nah. Jets fans are built different. I think we continue to prove it over and over again, and the ability to go ahead and kind of showcase how we're built different with the access of social media. Again, us growing up, we didn't all have access to each other the way that we currently do, to where we can go ahead and unite as a fan base and make it known, like leaving a footprint. I think at New York Jets, Matt was very precise in saying, like, listen, without this fan base, this access via Twitter, this never happens because everybody retweeting it is why Mike Williams saw it a night before he even got there. Like, so him giving props to that I thought was pretty awesome. And it's true. I think again, if he doesn't have the sailwind of Jets Twitter behind him, that thing probably never makes it past security, right? I mean, you're talking about some random food being delivered
Crazy.
to the location. It's crazy talk. But because I guess the how it traveled, right? The trajectory from beginning to end of us posting it, following it repeatedly. Like, I think that had a lot to do with it, man. Like, our fan base is different. We're literally built different as a fan base.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I will say this too. One thing I'll give Joe Douglas a lot of credit for this year. I don't know if you guys picked up on this. I don't see people talking about it. I'm going to make another video about it, I think, and go into some detail. But last year, what he did was he restructured a bunch of people in preparation for the offseason, right? You know, we did Conklin, we did Uzoma, we did all these guys. And it kind of bit him in the ass a little bit. He's locked into some guys that maybe doesn't want to be locked into. He had to pay out a little bit more dead cap. Maybe he wanted to because he cleared cap money last year prematurely. This year, we're wondering why he's not making any restructures. Where's all the money? But look at what he did. Right before signing Tyron Brown, he restructured CJ Mosley beautifully, by the way. He was going to get $21 million. It wasn't guaranteed anything. But his cap hit was going to be $21 million plus this year. He got him down to 17.25 for 2 years. That's not bad, everybody. That's pretty damn good, actually. And he's doing it as he needs it. You see what I mean? So he's not just going off half-cocked, making a bunch of moves. If I need the money, if I'm going to sign somebody, I'm going to restructure this guy. I got 3 guys on deck. I got DJ Reed. I can do JFM. You know, he can restructure these guys, give them an extension, and make some room. And if he needs it, he'll do it. If he's not, he doesn't need. He's learning as he goes, which is a good thing too. I think that was it's standing out to me. I was wondering why he didn't make the money, and then when I saw CJ Mosley's restructure and Tyron Smith signing, which by the way, the Tyron Smith contract is unbelievable. Have you seen it yet, Gunny? The 1 year?
Yeah. I don't know how or what. In fact, the fact that he signed it, it seems like even surprised the Jets. Because when I saw the actual contract layout, I was like, how?
Why would he agree to this? Yeah.
You're coming off of an all-pro season. Why?
Dude, it's like if he plays, it's like as he plays, he gets paid. If he goes out week 4, he gets the first little chunk. That's it. You're done.
That's it. Literally, it incentivizes him to stay healthy and play football for him to achieve $20 million.
Yeah, and the 1 year contract for Mike Williams, too. I mean, it's higher, but it's like, what does that do? It takes a guy who missed 14 games last year, 4 games a year before, so 18 games in 2 years, and it incentivizes him to ball out for another contract the year following, maybe a 3-year, 4-year kind of a thing with some guarantees. So he's doing a great job, not just with the players he's bringing in, but with the way he's orchestrating it and constructing the contracts and waiting, holding off on the extensions, either if he doesn't need to, or restructures, I should say. It's really kind of interesting to see, man.
It's so impressive because this is the guy who knows he's on the hot seat. This is the guy who understands that he has to go ahead and swing and connect this season, but he's still thinking about the future. Whether he's at the seat or not, he's still thinking about the future. And I'm not going to lie to you. As a Jets fan, I have to appreciate that thought process where he is going. He's gambling. He's going hard right now on some individuals. Yeah, we've got some injury concerns, but when these guys are healthy, they're elite at what they do. But at the same token, he understands he needs to protect the organization, even if he might not be the guy taking the reins next year. And that to me speaks a lot about his character because he could have just been like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give freaking Tyron Smith $20 million a year for the next 3 years. I'm going to give freaking Mike Williams $15 million a year for the next 3 years. Wouldn't impact him next year if he got fired because it didn't work out. But he's thinking about, you know what, work out, not work out, whatever the case might be. I got to think about the following season as well. Not for himself, but for the organization.
for the organization and not for nothing. If you're known as the guy that blew up the future of the organization, you just, nobody's hiring your ass anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So there's that. Wyatt checking in. What's up, Wyatt? Another beanbagger says, tell Gunny I ran a 2038 on my what the hell's PFT?
PFT. So it's a physical fitness test. So every year Marines have to run a physical fitness test. It consists of a 3-mile run. Consists of a max amount of pull-ups and then being able to achieve 100 crunches in 2 minutes. 2038 is good. For a perfect score, you need 18 minutes. That is not bad at all. 2038.
I think I beat Wyatt. I think I beat him.
Yeah, you say that. 3-mile run. I kind of want to know where he's at.
I haven't run 3 miles in fucking decades.
I was giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Thank
That's all
you.
It was.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Wyatt would smoke me, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, Wyatt, man. I still want to know how many pull-ups you got. And I already know you got 100 crunches. Wink, wink. I already know you got that. But how many pull-ups did you get?
Yeah, there you go. That's a good question. Hype checking in says, we don't know what restraints JD had last year. That's another point. I mean, you hate to think, because look, Woody clearly pays the money, right? He doesn't seem to be stingy with the cash. But we don't know if he said, look, you're paying Aaron Rodgers $35 million, you're paying Zach $10 million, whatever it was last year. You're not paying another $10 million to a quarterback. I'm just not doing it. Who knows what he did? And we don't look at this. Let me tell you this conspiracy theory. Let me tell you this one. There was somebody who said to me, there was somebody who said to me that maybe once Aaron Rodgers went down, they knew that they were going to keep their first round pick. And they just decided, play it out. Like, don't bring another quarterback in here, because we know we're not winning the Super Bowl, but we do have a chance with Aaron Rodgers. Why not just not tank, but let's just not spend a bunch of money for no reason. Let's not go out there and get ourselves in any situations. Let's just ride it out. And the best thing that can happen is that pick is a good pick, and we get a young stud to help Aaron Rodgers in an area that we need it. I don't know about that, but
I don't either.
But the point that Hype is making is interesting. I don't know, Hype. I mean, it's like we don't know what Joe Douglas was told last year. I mean, probably nothing. He probably runs the team and he just decided not to. But who knows, right? Who knows? Timmy Lamb Jones checking in. He says, don't get to catch live too often on the West Coast. Thanks for great content over the last couple of weeks and Jets free agency. What about before the last couple of weeks? What about that content?
Well, I think he's referring to this. He hasn't seen a lot of our stuff, so now he's seeing it because we're in the office. I'm hoping he's saying that. And that we weren't just putting out trash content before that.
He's like, everything before the last couple of weeks
was trash.
Garbage. You guys are dog shit. But now, thank you, Timmy. I'm glad you're able to catch it, man. That's a good thing. I hear that a lot. People, end up watching it the day after or because it's late or whatever. If not Phil Adams will stay up till 5 a.m. with you. He don't care. But a lot of us can't do that. Phil's an animal. But we're glad to have you, dude. And look, it's fun again. This is, what's weird? Last year's offseason didn't really feel, it was weird. Like, even though the Jets were technically, in 2022, the Jets were technically in it until the second to last game of the season. We could have won one of those games and gotten into the playoffs. We were actually in it. And it still seemed like the offseason, pre-free agency, pre-draft was long. It was a long time. We were tired of talking about quarterbacks, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G, whoever. We were tired of talking about it, a month before it even happened. It was like weird. And then the draft was kind of weird. We're used to having multiple picks, 2 firsts, 2 seconds. We had one lame first, and then we took Will McDonald. It was like a weird offseason where if the Aaron Rodgers thing didn't happen last year, it was the worst offseason in recent memory for the Jets. But this year is exciting again. Like Gunny said in the beginning, he's all bought in. And I know a lot of other Jets fans, Gunny, they're all bought in, dude. They're ready to believe. They want to believe again. Gunny, do you think, do we got a shot, though? Is this real?
It's I look at it this way, right? You're doing everything imaginable and possible to create a contender. I do believe that on paper the New York Jets have a top 5 roster in the NFL, and that's right now before we actually go into the draft. You got a legitimate dog in Garrett Wilson. You got a guy in Brees Hall who I think is potentially now the number one running back in football. When you take into consideration what he accomplished last year with no help and an OC that didn't even know he could play football. I look at this roster and we won 7 games last year in the AFC. That's not a fluke. That we won 7 games last year as an AFC team with no quarterback, no offensive line, no offensive coordinator. That's insane. That's ridiculous when you think about it. So for me, I'm realizing more and more like the pieces are obviously there. We've just kind of like put it all together with the moves we just made currently in offseason. And now it all depends on whether or not Aaron Rodgers is not only healthy, but the Aaron Rodgers we saw on his last year at Green Bay was just an anomaly, not his new norm. So a lot of question marks there. But I think a healthy Aaron Rodgers last year would have taken us to the playoffs. And I think this roster is more talented. This roster is way more talented.
Yeah, because I hopefully we don't have quite the offensive line issues later. Because I believe that too. If Aaron Rodgers started, I know there's people like, what could Aaron Rodgers do with this line? A whole bunch.
A lot.
That's we saw Trevor Siemian even looked. I mean, he not going to take us anywhere, but looked significantly better. But look at this. This is how Billy, that hole's getting deeper and deeper, man. The Zach Wilson hole. He says, the Jets will not draft a quarterback in any round this year. They'll stash Zach as number 3. Next season, he'll be number 2. And in like 2 or 3 years, he'll be number 1 again. Now we're 2-3 years away from Zach Wilson being number 1. I mean, dude, look, I have no stones to throw at his future career. Like whatever he ends up pulling together, good for him if he should do anything. And this will lead us into the main subject of tonight. We'll get into Mike Williams and Clowney and some other stuff in a bit. But Zach Wilson, dude, this idea, and I know, Billy, I believe you're one of the supporters of Zach Wilson, the guys that we affectionately have grown to call the Zach Truthers, right? And you're not alone. So there's still a lot of you out there. Jets Twitter, there are threads every day about Zach Wilson and this and that. But look at the situation that we have here. We've had 3 straight years of Zach Wilson being the primary starter of this team. We've had 2 offensive coordinators, both of who we've blamed for Zach's whatever. We've had different wide receivers. We've had different running backs. We've had all kinds of stuff. The number, top 3, top 5 defense in the NFL. We've had great special teams. We've helped Zach in every single way that could possibly, happen outside, obviously injuries and shit like that. It wasn't an optimal situation, but he has been absolute garbage. Like the defense, I love to bring up the Philadelphia Eagles game, which we won, right? The defense gave him 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers. Now, numerous turnovers. We were in Eagles territory and couldn't muster up a touchdown. We didn't get in the end zone. We had 5 field goals that game. That's how we won. 5 field goals, man. And that's Zach's entire career, right? So the idea that we still just because I want to be right or why you believe in this kid, I just don't understand. Situation aside, he has looked really, really bad. The worst quarterback that's played this many starting games probably in NFL history, right? Like seriously, with no exaggeration, like nobody's played worse. And again, we have the Mike White, we got Joe Flacco, we got Josh Johnson, all these guys coming in looking significantly better with the same team, right? And even Trevor Siemian looked at least serviceable, at the end of the year there. So
I think that's the thing.
Yeah, go on.
You just said, right? Like it's not like everybody says like we didn't help Zach. We didn't help Zach. So why is it that any other quarterback that was back there in the same situation played better than Zach Wilson? Like, I don't understand what we're watching, what we're seeing. We saw freaking Mike White make the Hall of Fame
right
in a game, but with the same playmakers around him. So it's not as if like this is just, again, you know what? I wish the kid the best. I do. And there's nothing wrong with not being one of the best 32 players in a position in the world at your job. The kid made it to the NFL. That's an achievement in its own. Why we have to keep mustering up this fantasy that It's the Jets that ruined him when we've literally seen other individuals behind the same offensive line with the same weapons, with the same offensive coordinator, everything, outperform him numerous times. Joe Flacco has outperformed him. Mike White has outperformed him.
Think about
Trevor
this.
Siemian-
Mike White outperformed him to the tune of an $8 million contract as a free agent.
Backs.
As Zach's backup. He went to Miami. He was courted. They wanted him. He wasn't garbage that they scraped off the bottom of the trash heap. He was the guy they wanted.
Yep.
And he was Zach Wilson's backup. So it's an interesting thing. So here's our situation with Zach Wilson. Right now, he's we have an $11.1 million cap hit this year. And the reason for that is the way that the contract was structured in the beginning. There were less cap hits earlier on, and it just kind of incrementally got more. So 11 million is where we are right now. 11.1. So when you look at the other quarterbacks in his class that were traded, namely Mac Jones, Justin Fields, they were traded for chump change, both of them 6th-round pick range.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing there is that both of those guys, Justin Fields is let me look here, is 3.23 million, and Mac Jones is 2.785 million. So there, I would venture to guess that if Zach's cap number was 3 million, we could offload him, right? So it's not that Zach has zero value. I still think there are offensive coordinators out there that look at his skill set, that arm, his mobility. Those are legit assets that he possesses, right? And he has shown us from time to time that if he can put it all together for 5 minutes, he can look like an NFL quarterback. I mean, there are times the KC game was one, the Texans game this year.
Yep.
He looked, I want to say brilliant, because if we're talking about 260 yards, you know what I mean? Like
for him, it was brilliant.
But he looks like a competent, at least backup quarterback. But, so the skill set is there. And I think that's what a lot of the Zach Truther group, that's what they're kind of hanging at, they're hanging on, right? So I think it's the money, Gunny, that really prohibits us from being able to. Now, if we trade him, it does trim the cap hit to 5 and change, but I don't know
if we release him, we're still on the hook. It's a fully guaranteed. His rookie contract was fully guaranteed. So I saw somebody post, like, if we cut him and somebody else picks him up,
let's do this.
If somebody else picks him up, we are still on the hook for the cap hit. Because he's still going to get that money from us no matter what. If Zach Wilson got cut right now and just to spite us, he decided he was going to go ahead and sign a minimum whatever to go anywhere else, we're still paying him to play somewhere else. So
but we did win the offset language battle with him, if I remember correctly. So if he went somewhere and signed for 4 million, that would come off of what we. But let's take a look. This, admittedly, we do this all the time. Yeah. This is the area that I get lost in the sauce, like the numbers, the contracts and shit. Yeah. Like I get, for whatever reason, it just doesn't compute to me, right? The game of football and all those kinds. I got it. But the numbers, the contracts, man, it's
hieroglyphics.
I can't, it doesn't stick for me, Gunny. So
yeah,
let's take a look real quick. And Rivka, thank you for that. So Rivka Board checking in. She says, the reports indicate that Woody refused to pay for the backup. And that's what I was insinuating before, because I did hear that report. So we don't know how true that is. Zach Rosenblatt reported it, but could be. I mean, that's a lot of friggin' money to one position. And Woody's, I don't know. He seems like he's kind of a stubborn enough guy to say something like that. But why? It doesn't make sense that an owner would, but, I wouldn't put it past Woody. I mean, look at his necklace, everybody. I mean, that's all you got to do. Look at the necklace, and you'll say that guy's incapable of fucking anything.
I feel like Woody has like a case of the Jerry Joneses, right? Just wants to be the GM, but not the GM. Like, he's like trying to stay involved in it more than he should, even though he has a competent GM. So, right, I believe he could have said, "Nope, we're not spending any more money on a backup quarterback."
Yeah. So here we go. So look at this. So Zach's cap. Now, if anybody's in the chat, Jeremy, can you scour the chat or Because again, I'm like a caveman with this. I look and sound stupid, but my advanced age allows me to admit such things. I'm not a young punk and got to pretend I'm right better. Nah, I don't care. I just want to know. So if somebody can help us out here, help us out. So here we go. You got, $11.1 million cap number right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we cut him pre-June 1st, we have $11.1 million of dead cap. Now, tell me if I'm reading this right, everybody. Okay. Maybe I'll nail it, and then everybody can hail my intelligence. Okay. Let's see. So if we cut him post-June 1st, nothing. So if we cut Zach Wilson, we're on the hook for the whole kit and caboodle.
100%.
But if we trade him pre-June 1st, and this is the great over the cap, just so you know what site we're using to give them due props. Our dead money goes down to 5.7 million, and we save on the cap 5.453 million. Am I reading that right, Gunny? You see that?
That's correct. That's correct.
Right.
Yep.
Now, if we traded him post June 1st, let's see what the benefit is here. It's identical, right?
It's the same thing. Yeah.
It's the same thing. So the trade would put the other team on the hook because his guaranteed salary is the cash.
The
is the 5.43 million. The cap number is different. So if the team we trade him to, they're really only on the hook for just under 6. We can call that 6 million, right?
Yeah.
So that's still almost, it's like
half.
It's in the neighborhood of 2 times, right? As much as Justin Fields. So that could be enough to, I don't know. The guy's has a chance not to be even our backup. All right, here she comes. All right, Rivka's smart. Rivka was a beanbagger for a long time, so she used to come in there.
Base salary.
She used to hang out with us on Wednesday nights. Basically, if you trade Zach, the trading team becomes on the hook for the base salary and roster bonus. If we cut him, we're on the hook for it all. So the roster bonus
is 4.4 million.
Oh shit!
But
that's where the cap number.
Yeah, you're right. She's right. She's right. It's
that's
the
where the cap
bonus.
number. See, I should probably. Here's another thing, guys. It's like when you get a worksheet in high school. They say start at the top, read the directions. I like to go to the bottom. I'm stupid like that sometimes. I go, all right, what is it? I go right to it. All right, I know the answer, and the directions are different. In the future, read the whole line. Bean.
So for the trade makes sense, right? So everything transfers over to the other team. And we're on the hook for that 5.73 million because we prorated his signing bonus, and he's already gotten that at signing. So that's why we'd be on the hook for that, and the remainder would transfer over to the acquiring team. But if nobody trades for him, we're on the hook for all of it. So
what's Jeremy saying? A trade saves us $5 million in cap. Pre or post makes no difference, right? So we save $5 million in cap dollars, but the team. So let's do this. 5, 4. 5, 3, 2. Wait, let me see. 2, 7. Oh, Jesus. All right. 5, 4, 5, 3, 2, 7, 4 plus 4, 3, 9, 8, 2, 7, 4 equals 9.8. So it's not the full 11.1, but it's $10 million at the landing spot.
We'll have to eat up.
Yeah, so if we trade Zach Wilson, you're going to see us either giving a pick for a team to take the money,
or eating some of that salary,
or we're going to have to eat even more of it somehow. I don't even know if that's legal, man. But again, this is the area of the game that confuses me. But
well, you can always do a trade and include cash. So that's how they would offset the cost towards their cap.
Yeah,
but it would hit our cap.
So we'd have to send them actual cash because the cap, we'll save the money on the cap, but we'll still have to pull the money out the cash. So we'd have to talk to Woody about that. He's going to go, wait a minute. So you want me to pay another team to take him?
Yes.
No, but it's the same, you see, because we already
it evens out.
It evens out. He's going to be like, no. And if you come here with that kind of shit again, you are fired. I don't care who I got to hire. I'll hire GreenBean.
JD went the first time and realized it wasn't going to work. He says, all right, I'll just figure this out on my own.
Zach is an albatross. Yeah. So this is I really do believe, like, again, you guys know I'm on both sides. Number one, I never wanted Zach Wilson. I got beat up for it. I didn't see it. Jeremy and I were talking about it before the stream. Zach is pretty much the quarterback that I saw. He has shown really, really impressive flashes. You know, he's definitely got talent. There's no doubt. But I would argue with everybody and go, dude, this guy, number one, if he has any chance, he's got to sit for at least a year, probably two. That's what I was saying. And but anyway, so I never really liked him. But the moment he was a Jet, I rooted for him. I was excited when he, like in the first game against the Carolina Panthers. Remember that? We were getting beat up. By the way, our offensive line, he was getting killed in that game. Game one, they were just free rushers at poor Zachy Poop. So he ended up, like, remember at the end of the game, he threw those 2 touchdowns to Corey Davis. And it was like, oh, yeah, okay. He said the kid's got it in him. So then it was our home opener. I went and sat with Matt O'Leary for the first time, hung out with Matt and his beautiful fiance up there in the stands, and Zach threw 4 interceptions in that game. And we were like, yep, here we go again. We got another one. And, it's been that way. But every single stream you guys watch, I below Benzad. Like, I want the kid to be good. But it's a deep pull because he's so frustratingly bad. But even with all that said, I still think he has value, Gunny, if he didn't have a $10 million price tag on him. I mean, we paid Tyrod Taylor less, and he's shown he can win games.
Yes, facts. So for Zach Wilson, I think that and I'm never going to be in the boat that this guy is going to be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro or even a starting caliber quarterback. But I think if you're a genius OC, if you're a Shanahan or a McDaniel or even a Mike LaFleur, I think if you can go ahead and take away the thinking process out of the game for this kid, hey, you're going to go here with the ball. If it's not there, you're going to go here. That's it. Those are your only 2 options. Those are not available. Throw it away. You can hide his flaws, right? Like you've seen them do it with Tua. Like quick freaking passes, get the ball out of your freaking hands, let the wide receivers do all the work. You're going to go ahead and pretty much take 2 steps back, 3 steps back, launch it in this particular spot. Hopefully Hill is there or freaking Waddle is there. And you see that kind of coaching to alleviate or take away the thinking process from the game. He does have the arm talent and the mobility, like you said, to go ahead and potentially look like a legitimate NFL quarterback. But I think we should all know by now, if you don't have it here at that position, all the physical tools in the world can't help you. Unfortunately, being able to go ahead and process information fast enough at the quarterback position at the NFL level is significantly different than doing it at BYU. And now we're seeing that at BYU, when he had 6 seconds to make a decision, vice the 2.5 to 3 he has now, huge difference in terms of overall performance.
Yeah, Douglas McClure checking in, and this is the offset piece. He says, thank you, Douglas. He says, how does the pay and contract work with Zach Wilson if he's just released and another team picks him up? I'm thinking there are some teams just waiting for him to be released and we'll take a flyer on him. Yeah, because listen, here's the thing. Did you see, Doug, with Russell Wilson this year? He's getting paid $35 million. I think it's $35 million dollars from the Broncos.
$38.5 million from the Broncos.
So
the Steelers.
and he took a $1.2 million contract with the Steelers. Talk about advantageous, for the Steelers. I mean, they get Russell Wilson. He's not the Russell Wilson of old, but they got him and Russell Wilson. That's $8
million. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Or is it 1.8? Or 1.2?
It's 1.8 million. The veterans
1.8. Okay.
What he got. Yep.
So that's the kind of thing. So he's already getting paid. So Zach Wilson is inclined to take him. So it's going to be think about this. They could give us a pick and pay $10 million, or they can wait, give nothing, and give him $2 million.
We'll still pay the $10 million.
Better.
We'll still have to pay the $10 million. So, I guess to answer your question, Douglas, if he gets cut, it doesn't matter. It's fully guaranteed. So whatever he gets from the other team would just be, again, like Russell did with the Broncos or the Steelers. They're still paying him $38.5 million to go play for the Steelers for 1.8 because it was fully guaranteed. So we'd still be on the hook for it, man. That's what sucks about it. Because I think you're right. I think teams are just kind of like, you know what? We're good. We'll wait. We see nobody else is stepping forward. Why would we? Because we'll still be paying him $10 million, and they don't have to come off of a pick.
Right, because you see, the only way that $10 million wouldn't be an issue is that if he was so valued that teams knew if I wait, then I'm likely not to get him.
Gonna get him.
Right. Then, and I want him. Right. Like, so that's those are the times. And that's what would have happened with Bryce Huff. We would have been able to get something for Bryce Huff because teams wanted him. He had actual real-time value now. So, and you saw that because the Eagles signed him 10 minutes into free agency and gave him, 17 plus a year with some incentives to get up to 20. So, like I told everybody, by the way, nobody believed me. Nobody believed me. But, so that's the thing. It's like, I still think that Zach has value, not as a starter and not as the guy that, I got to get him in here 1 year on my team and he'll be our starter. He's pretty much going to be a guy that you'd like to bring in, get your hands on and battle for number 2, potentially be even your 3. So nobody's going to pay this guy. Nobody's going to pay him. Nobody's going to give us a pick to pay him high-level backup quarterback money. What did Minshew get? Minshew got a really nice contract, right? What did he get?
Like $15 million a year.
Yeah, he got really the top. Gardner Minshew is going to end up being Gardner Minshew is going to be their star, no matter who if they draft a quarterback. I think the Raiders are going to trade up with us if McCarthy's there. That's what I think. But maybe they jump us. Who knows? So Gardner Minshew just got a contract. Yeah, his average, his 2024 salary or cap charge anyway is $8 million. He's getting 5.8 this year, 3.1 the following year. Then he's got a bunch of void years. So really, it's not that much, Gunny. What is this? So contract value $25 million. Oh,
it's a 2-year deal, isn't it?
I don't know, dude. I get lost. Oh, dude,
I'm not doing this.
Next year, I'm ready. I'm like, this looks like a bunch of. It looks like Chinese.
What
writing.
Gibberish is this?
I'm like, I got it.
It's a 2-year deal for him, though. I'm pretty
positive. I looked over to the left again. I'm like, oh, there it is.
I'm done.
Did it again.
I'm done. Moving on.
Yeah. But anyway. But, $10 million is high quality backup money. You know what I mean? And so Zach Wilson is not high quality backup, dude. You know this because you've seen him come in and not be a high quality backup. As a matter of fact, he was the weak link. And people can talk about the offensive line. Sure. Drops. Sure. That's all present. It's all part of the soup. But Zach Wilson, I'm telling you, dude, I sit there and I watch the film. I stop it. I pause it. I look at plays. I check the angles. All the stuff that's going on. There were so many occasions that the time was there. He had 3 seconds and there was more than one or at least one wide open person within his sight. There were numerous examples of him literally staring at the person. There was one example in the end zone with Conklin where he even pumped.
And stopped.
He's wide open in the end zone. Zach's got a direct line at him. He pumped and pulled it back. Why? Because I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. That's what it is. He's afraid. It's all about his head. Now, if he got with an Andy Reid or a Kyle Shanahan for a couple years, who knows? But the Sam Darnold people, this was Zach's a little bit more extreme than it was with Sam for some reason.
Sam. Yep.
But Sam Darnold people, they thought, as soon as this guy gets away from us, he's going to be crazy.
Pro Bowler. Freaking Pro Bowler.
He had 3 games that he really did look good, and he had his stretches. But he basically had 2 years as a starter in Carolina. He was a failure. He went and played backup in San Francisco. Everybody said, Kyle Shanahan, this is going to be – he came in. He looked okay, but then he fumbled, and And they let him go after 1 year too. Now he's with the Vikings. He's on his third team in 4 years after leaving the Jets. What does that tell you? It's the same. Like when you see this stuff, it's a deep hole for Zach Wilson to climb out of. Now look at it like a guy like Geno Smith. Geno Smith ultimately did climb out of it, but don't forget on the way he got
10 years later.
He got one Giants coach fired. Remember when the Giants? I forget. What was it? Pat Shermer, maybe.
Before this guy.
When he decided to bench Eli Manning and stick Geno Smith in there, and they were like, nah. And they fired him, cut Geno. But Geno went 9 years later, and he ended up carving himself out a nice starting position with the Seahawks, and good for him. But that was a deep hole he had to climb out of, and he climbed out of it. Sanchez couldn't climb out of it. Who knows if Sammy Boy does, but he's not so far, and it's been 4 years. Yeah. So I don't know. Sneakers to Boots. What's up, buddy? Checking in to say hello. Hello back. He says silence from JD last year was deafening. Backed into a corner, wheeling and dealing in free agency, saying, hold my beer. Trade down for more throws at the dartboard. Yeah, I think last year, the Aaron Rodgers thing, it was our sole focus. It really was. And there was a lot of tentative dealing with a lot of other areas. And I would venture to guess that some players without the commitment that, knowing Aaron Rodgers was going to be here, probably were a bit hesitant to sign with us too if they were having those conversations. Like, I don't know even know who the quarterback is over there. So it was a weird offseason. Like Sneakers to Boots just said, Joe Douglas, I think, feels it. I think he feels it. He knows, he's like, look, I got to stop messing around. But at the same time, Sneakers to Boots, like we talked about a few minutes ago, he's not exactly throwing money into the wind either. You know what I mean? Tyron Smith, good contract. Slight overpay with Kinlaw, but it wasn't all $7 million in 1 year like we thought. It's still broken up. He's 2.8 this year. I believe it's $4 million next year. So it's still a little bit better than we thought. We know that, I brought him up. Tyron Smith's contract is borderline brilliant. He got Fotu's a nice contract. Who else did we bring in? Simpson's a nice contract. He got the great Kenny Yeboah for 1.4. That's pretty good. Who would have thought that? I would have thought Yeboah got $10 million. If you listen to me, he's a $10 million tight end. So, but I think he's definitely showing a bit more urgency this year. But at the same time, look, Morgan Moses, $5.5 million and a sixth-round pick, essentially, at a swap of fourths. That's not bad either. So even though there's urgency, he's still Joe Douglas. You know what I mean? He's still not just Mike McCagnon or Mike Tannenbaum in this joint. He's not just like, what, 20 million? Go ahead, take 20 million. He's not setting the market.
Yeah.
Anywhere. These are all what you could call somewhat of bargains. Am I wrong?
100%. Oh, 100%. Like, again, I'm still shocked after I saw what the actual full, because when I first heard Tyron Smith, $20 million, I was like, God, man, that's a lot for 13 games, right? And my mind immediately went to that aspect because the guy hasn't played a full season in almost a decade. But then you sit back and you look at it and you're like, oh, wait, it's $6.5 million? And he only gets paid if he can actually complete a full season? I was like, why would he sign this? To me, it made me realize, like, that's a bargain. We went bargain shopping. You threw this man a bargain freaking offer. And again, this is why the Jets were surprised he took it. Because even the Jets were like, you said yes? He said yes. Did you say yes?
Right.
Let's get this contract out here right now for you to sign it. Because they weren't expecting it. So for me, I think JD understanding the current dynamic in the situation, understanding that we need to go ahead and win now, and we had several holes. Being able to go into the draft this year, vice like last year when everybody and their mom knew we needed a freaking offensive tackle, and you saw the Steelers jump ahead of us to go ahead and make sure they got the one guy we wanted. I think this year he made it a point to where that wasn't going to be the issue. It wasn't going to be the question mark. Like right now, we don't know what direction they're going to go. Some are hoping offensive tackle. Some are hoping freaking wide receivers. Something is Brock Bowers. I want him to trade back personally. There's just so much he can do now, and we get to have these awesome debates as a fan base because he understood the assignment, and he's aced it in offseason, and he did it for $23 million fully guaranteed. Think about that. 4 starting caliber offensive players, 3 on the offensive line, and a legitimate wide receiver 2. $23 million fully guaranteed. That is ridiculous.
It is. And it's a pretty good job. And the truth is, he's more than likely not done. I think we're going to see a few more players, and we'll kind of smoothly segue over in just a moment into that. But the idea, see, Zach is kind of the biggest thing on the docket right now, as far as like, dude, he's a large nut. And we're kind of stuck. So there was a comment in here. I wanted to pull it up. Somebody said, oh, here it is. PJC. Thanks, Sneakers to Boots. He said, so it seems like there's no reason to cut him. Gunny. I'm all about moving on from Zach Wilson. And the idea of seeing that friggin' kid run out as the starter, or you know what I mean? I can't, I just, at all costs, we can't watch this again. It's been 3 straight seasons of it. But
I'm getting worried that he might be at least
if you're gonna
quarterback.
You know, the only problem with just keeping him, in my opinion, is that it takes up a spot. The thing is, you could put him on the practice squad. Nobody's taking him.
No one's taking him.
He's safe.
He's safe.
But does it prohibit you from kind of, drafting like your Jordan Travis in the 4th, which is I have made my decision.
Jordan Travis, right?
If he's there in the 4th, you take Jordan Travis in the 4th. That's the guy. That's who I would take.
I'm with you 100%.
One of my 4ths. Yeah.
I've been getting so much flack for saying that. A couple of individuals that I chop it up with regularly are talking about he's not an NFL quarterback. Like, that's ridiculous. It's a reach. And I'm like, I don't think many people thought freaking Brock Purdy was going to be a freaking NFL caliber quarterback. This is a guy that's played in freaking the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, and he was the last overall pick. And if I look at a guy like a Jordan Travis, I see more talent there, bigger size, more athleticism than a Brock Purdy. So you really don't know what these guys are capable of until you get them into an NFL uniform and say, go play football. So I love this kid, man. I hope he is the pick too. I'm with you. I hope he's the guy that gets to sit behind Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor for the next couple of years, understand and learn the game. No pressure, no nothing like that. And then you give him a shot. This is a guy that would have potentially gone, in my opinion, at least in the first 2 rounds had he not gotten hurt. He was a Heisman finalist until he freaking got hurt. Florida State went from being a playoff favorite in college football to, oh, man, listen, since Jordan got hurt, we're good. We're not – I know y'all didn't lose any games, but we're good. We're going to go ahead and kick you out of the playoffs. That's impactful. So I don't understand why some people are so down on the kid. Again, if you're going to go ahead and throw a 4th or a 5th rounder at him, bring him in to sit behind an Aaron Rodgers and behind a Tyrod Taylor to learn the game, I think you're only setting yourself for the benefit of the what if. What if this kid can absorb that information and just get better at the next level? So, yeah, I'm with you. I think he's definitely worth picking up before the 5th round.
Yeah, but look at this. So, I'm with it. I think it's. I think it's a safe, sound pick. Number 3, 4th round, uber talented.
Yeah,
injured, can sit for a while, learn under. I mean, dude, Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor, not 2 bad guys to sit behind and just learn the position. Eric Craig, this is an interesting point. If Joe Douglas goes to Woody and says, hey, dude, look, we're going to have to pay somebody to take Zach off our hands. And he says, no way. And he goes, well, then you should shut your fucking mouth and stop saying things like we don't have a backup quarterback. Okay? You did this. You did this to me.
He was running in his mouth.
That's what he should say. You did this to us. Take the necklace off.
Yeah, nah, that's legit. That's legit. I was sitting there wondering to myself, I was just like, what are you doing? We're trying to offload this dude onto anyone else. And you're telling people like, yeah, we had no quarterback on the roster last year to include the dude we're trying to go ahead and offload. Like, yeah, I don't know what Woody was thinking. Maybe he wasn't thinking. That's the problem. But I'm with you. That's a great approach.
Good point, Eric.
If Woody's saying
okay,
no,
good. You don't want to pay it, then let me tell you this. then you need to shut your face. Okay?
Shut your damn mouth.
Yeah. Why don't you shut up and stop talking about rocks in the dirt? Okay. We want grass. Okay, we can get the rocks out, Woody. There's rocks. I'll tell you. I'll tell you this too. Rivka put in there. Just read my articles about it. Rivka. If you guys don't know, Rivka works for JetX, and she writes great articles. She even does some YouTube stuff now as well on the I think a JetX channel, or I don't think it's I think it's JetX, but the channel anyway. But Jets X Factor. So she writes great articles, and but dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, for all of your talent and wisdom, it's an area of my brain that just seems to be just impenetrable. You know what I mean? It's the number thing. One layer of numbers, I'm good. Soon as it moves, I don't know what it is. I get lost in the sauce. It's like when I read articles and they start going in 3 months for 2 years, I go whoop. I just naturally skip right over it to where the words begin again. I don't even tell myself to do it. My brain goes, no. Just how it goes. So, but yeah, you guys, if you haven't checked out Rivka's work, man, go on to the JetX site, dude. Check it out. She's it's almost daily she's writing articles, it seems. JetX is great. If you guys haven't checked it out, which most of you I know have by now.
Yeah, I have a subscription.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Actually, they gave me a how come I can't remember his name, dude? He's like my favorite. What the hell's his name? The owner, not
Joe?
Blewett, not Nanya, the other one.
Under Blewett? Oh,
What the fuck's wrong with me? Why can't I remember his name? Come on.
I'm doing the same thing because I know Joe Blewett.
Jeremy, what's his name? This is ridiculous. I feel stupid because he's literally one of my favorites.
Sabo? Is it Sabo?
Sabo.
It's Sabo, right? I'm sitting there like
Sabo. Yeah, Sabo
Robbie
gave
something.
me a
Sabo
thing, but yeah. So anyway, I'll tell you, dude. So I don't know. The idea of just keeping Zach at number 3, just keep. I mean, if you're gonna have to give a pick or give away money, why not just keep him? Keep him on the practice squad.
Practice squad. Okay, cool. I think practice squad because then you're talking about if you're going to keep Zach as number 3, then are you going to go ahead and take a pick, use Jordan Travis to bring in with the 4th or 5th? You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's got to be practice squad because you got to be able to. You got to be able to use a pick on.
Yeah. And now on the practice squad, if a team wants to sign him, I think that actually allows us to offset the cost. So if they're taking him away from us, then we're talking offsetting the cost of his contract as well, because we didn't cut him. Obviously, nobody wanted to trade for him. So I think there's something in there that means that if he was to get picked up, I mean, again, injuries happen. We all know what happens. We have no idea how many quarterbacks could potentially go down in 2024. We don't know. It's one of those things where it's feasible that we're going into freaking, month 2, we're going into October, and unfortunately some bad things happen and a team needs a quarterback. And somebody that believes they can go ahead and utilize the strengths of a Zach Wilson to mitigate or hide his flaws might take a chance at taking him off the practice squad. But I have a hard time cutting him, eating the $10 million. Especially knowing that another team right now is just probably waiting for him to get cut, for them to go ahead and kind of jump in. That to me would hurt a lot.
There he is. Hey,
Jets
we
forever.
Talk about Zach. Jets Forever pops in. It's good. It's good to see you, Jets Forever. Yes, it's his fault because every other quarterback that came in, they were getting sacked too, and they still knew how to take a football and throw it to a guy to catch it. That's all he has to do. That's it. It's not that hard, everybody. I want to share that with you. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to be competent. It's hard to be great. It's not that hard when you have an arm like that and feet like that and the background like that.
Yeah.
You played football your whole life. It's not that hard to take a football and throw it to a guy in front of you, especially when he's right in front of you. Throw it in the dirt by his feet instead. But so the chat, I put the poll out there. Will the Jets be able to trade Zod? And 75% said no, Jets Forever. I don't think I'm curious. I'm curious if you think the Jets will be able to trade him. And if so, Jets Forever, For what? Billy, you can ask, you can chime in with that one too. I'm real curious. I'm legitimately, sincerely curious. Do you guys think if it's possible? That's right. Yeah, I know. Mike Saunders said 90% of fans were calling for JD to be fired last week. But that's Jets fans are bipolar. Mike, the sooner we accept that though, that's us.
Just this is the norm. But I don't think that's true though. I don't think nobody was calling for him to get fired last week.
Oh, Gunny.
Everybody was saying he's asleep. What is this
maybe
guy
not
doing?
All right, a week ago. Don't get stuck on the week ago piece.
Okay.
But up until the end of the season, there was a huge contingent of Jets fans saying Joe Douglas needs to go.
Fire him?
Fire him.
Who were we going to bring in? What?
I don't
fire
care.
him?
They just want to fire. That's the thing.
Okay, that doesn't make sense.
It's nobody. We don't have to think this through, Gunny. We don't have to do that.
He says, "Don't bring logic into this."
Right, we need to fire him. Doesn't matter who's left.
Then I apologize. That's
who else is out there? I don't know.
That's a mess. At the end of the day, the season went completely awry. But I mean, again, Aaron Rodgers went down within the first 4 snaps of the game. If you logically look at it, we can't all love the man for bringing in Aaron freaking Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers goes down with freaking 4 snaps in. Then we hate the man because the starting quarterback for the New York Jets was out. Listen, I don't care what team you are, unless you're the Browns and somehow Joe Flacco figures out how to play football again and brings you to the playoffs. 9 out of 10 times, you lose your starting quarterback, your season is over. That's just the name of the game. It's the most important position on the field.
Right, and they weren't going anywhere for real.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew that.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco wasn't going to miracle his way to the Super Bowl.
No.
Which is really what it's about.
We were all shocked. We won against the Bills. Once we saw Zach, I remember watching that game, and I remember watching some live streams. Yeah, week 1 of Rodgers going down in the life, literally leaving that stadium. We're talking about Justin Bieber was just like, yeah, I'm good, and left the game. Literally left the game. We were all there, and then somehow, some way, Zach Wilson pulled it off. Well, defensively, they pulled off and gave Zach Wilson some opportunities.
Right.
That Garrett Wilson
was a
touchdown
terrible
catch.
pass.
Not a pass. Not a touchdown pass. That was a touchdown catch created by Garrett Wilson. Big difference. But we won the game. And I think we all got really excited. But then the very next couple of days, we heard the news that Aaron Rodgers was legitimately done. And we were all right back down again. Our season ended within 4 snaps. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. We all knew it. Every Jets fan knew it. But we had a little bit of hope because we wind up pulling off a win against the Buffalo Bills in week 1 until we got the news that Aaron Rodgers' Achilles was torn and it was a wrap. But I think nobody was getting fired last year. There's no way.
Yeah.
They get a mulligan.
And if anybody, it should have been Robert Saleh, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, Coach Saleh.
Again, look, and we talked about this all last year, and even before, because there have been people talking about Joe Douglas's record and everything. The difference between Joe Douglas and our previous 2 GMs, even with Tannenbaum did a good job for the most part, and then when Rex came, it kind of fell apart with the player selections and everything. But the last 2 GMs, McCagnon and Idzik specifically, there was no design to how they were building the team. It was a bunch of random moves. It just made no sense. Joe Douglas, you can see what he's doing. Now, the fact that Becton got injured, Cam Clark got injured, AVT got injured, the fact that a lot of those guys aren't working out, Denzel Mims ate the salmon, and he did great with Gase, but Saleh didn't like him, made him learn 3 positions. Whatever that was, the picks were sound. Getting a left tackle and a 6'3" wide receiver that runs a 4.3 and hands catcher, all that shit that Denzel Mims came in here with, it made perfect sense. Mm-hmm. It was holy shit, we got a GM that knows what he's doing. And then he waits till the 4th, takes another offensive lineman. And then in 2021, the first 4 picks for offense. It made so much sense what he was doing. He takes a quarterback and a guard and then a running back, a wide receiver, then a running back. And it was oh my God, dude, we have a GM. And for whatever reason, guys are just not Laken Tomlinson. We all thought it was a great free agent signing. He was in the Pro Bowl. The fact that he came and played so poorly, and he played poorly from the word go. In that Ravens game that we were all at together, We came out of that going, what the hell's with Lakin Tomlinson?
Yeah.
He's playing in his system with
Yeah.
his coach of a year ago. Like, what the hell? He looked like a complete turnstile. So it's not that, Joe Douglas has nailed every move or got every guy that we wanted, but you can see the plan behind what he's doing.
Yeah, the vision's there.
And I will say the team, the talent. Jeremy said this earlier on the reality check on Talking Jets with Matt O'Leary. He said, if you just take away the name, take away Joe Douglas, all the other guys, just look at the talent on this team right now and the talent on the team the previous, the 10 years before 2022, and tell me it's not significantly and markedly better. Look at the team. Aaron Rodgers wanted to come here. That wasn't happening from 2012 on. It wasn't happening, guys. Aaron Rodgers would look at Kirk Cousins. He came out, he played he was never coming to the Jets. We had nothing. We had nothing in place for him to use. He wasn't coming here. McCagnon was going to throw $90 million guaranteed at him. He said, nope, I'll take 84 over here.
Yep.
Yeah, no way. So that's the thing we have to remember. Now, Hype is saying JD's team failed him, and that was reason for a shakeup. Well, see, that to me, Hype is more Saleh. And you can blame Joe Douglas for hiring Saleh, of course. Yes. But Saleh, to me, I don't know what last year was. It just looked like it looked like when Aaron Rodgers went down, they just packed their bags and left for Tahiti. Yep. They went to Tahiti, Gunny, and we stayed here watching.
It was infuriating because, I think when we saw the reaction of Saleh on the sideline when things were going awry and things were just going bad, and we're all here screaming suggestions and concepts for offense that could potentially we're screaming at the television, right? And he just looks just on the sideline, emotionless, just sitting there. But then whenever the team was winning and things were going smoothly and easy, he was excited and he was pumped. And I just got to the point where I was just like, so was he a cheerleader or is he a freaking head coach? Saleh definitely lost a lot of points for me last year, and I was a big believer and fan of him when we brought him in. But ultimately, Hype, what you're saying, yeah, you're right. But JD put the best roster possible around him, gave him a Hall of Fame quarterback, you know what I'm saying, gave him defensive players he wanted. It's the coach to go ahead and put it all. It's his job to put it all together and make it work.
Right. And if your offensive coordinator isn't doing it, then coming out and going, no, he's doing better. If your offensive coordinator, and we talk about this seemingly every week this comes up, but if your offensive coordinator comes out week 10 and says, well, we didn't realize that Breece Hall could be such a weapon in the passing
game. My God.
Then you gotta sit down with him and go, hey, let's have a cup of tea. Come here. Here's some crumpets, here's some cookies, and here's some tea. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Right? You said that out loud in front of people.
And you really didn't know. And then you grab Taylor Embry. You go, why did you not telling this guy? I told him. I swear to God.
I bet you tell him what he was just like. I did my job.
But that's on the head coach. Bill Parcells would have stepped in and said, I'm taking over. Give me the damn play card. I'm taking over, man. I don't care. Hold on. What's Jeremy want here?
I just wanted to make a correction on something or pose a question. And some guy is asking in the chat too, and I was thinking it. So I figure if we're both thinking it, if that might have legitimacy. We keep saying put Zach on the practice squad. I believed in order to put a player in the practice squad, you have to cut them, and they have to clear waivers or something like that.
Yeah, so cut them.
But if you cut them, then
no, that's not true.
That's not true.
No, that's not true.
Because we've dropped. Because watching the transactions last year.
Hold on.
Yeah,
maybe initially. Hold on.
See, now I'm curious about that.
Did you look it up, Jeremy, before you came on here?
I just think it's a true thing.
Not in season. You don't. Wait, hold on. Matter of fact, you definitely don't. But
you don't have to release somebody to put them on the practice squad.
I feel like we've dropped.
Not during the season, you don't. I know that.
Rivka says it is true.
Not during the season. Let me see. NFL, let's see. You cannot put a waiver claim. Only free agents can be signed to the practice squad. If a player is not claimed in that window, their contract is terminated. They become a free agent, sign anywhere. But to be the team's 53-man roster, practice squad. Let me see. But that's talking about the waiver process. Of course, you can't just take guys and stash guys. You have to cut them. You have to expose them. But once the season starts, so I guess no, Zach's already on. Like if we just keep him and then during the season you put him on the practice squad. Am I fucking?
You can only elevate. You can, and Rithka's saying it. You can elevate.
You can put him back
from the practice squad. But when you put them back, like if you take a guy that's under contract and put him on the practice squad, and I'm like 90% sure you have to cut them, you have to release them. That automatically,
and then the feeding frenzy would begin, Gunny. Then we'd see how valuable Zach is.
That's a good point.
I'll tell you what, though. So just let's say that's true. So let's say that they do that. How quickly do you think he snapped? You think Zach wants to come back? If they go, hey, we want to put you on a squad, you go, you cut me, I'm on a plane. I'm gonna be on a plane. I'm gonna get a prop plane so I can hang my hands out the window like this the whole time as we're leaving. I want to throw the city, the bird, the whole area.
If Zach Wilson gets cut and has the opportunity to go ahead and make a run for it, he's gonna take his $11 million that he's gonna get paid from us and go to Utah and just chill. Take the year off, get away from football. If another team doesn't pick him up, there's no way Zach Wilson will willingly sign a contract or to be in the practice squad with the New York Jets. Yeah. Nope. Thanks for the payday. I'm out. That's how he would take that.
Yeah, I don't know. Wyatt checking back. He said, I always thought Joe D was a great GM. I still don't know about Saleh, though. Yeah, I think Joe Douglas is a good GM. I mean, I think it's blown up in his face. I mean, I think, and I look, if you look at his free agency is significantly it's checkered, to say the least. But again, you got to go through every player and say, all right, well, how do we acquire these guys? Because the team is strong. We have a strong team that had holes, right? And even last year going into the season, I mean, we all knew it was stupid to bet on Dwayne Brown, he wasn't even able to practice through half a all a training camp, because of his shoulder. Mekhi Becton's coming off 2 years of knee injuries. You got Max Mitchell, Carter Warren, who was injured. Like, you're not going to sign any more tackle. We got Billy Turner.
He did what I did.
Billy Martin. Yeah. Oh God. Remember he would always fight with Yogi Berra, right? They were always
Reggie Jackson. He used to fight with Reggie Jackson. Like that was the worst thing I ever saw.
Oh, it's funny. I mean, look, I'll be real honest with Saleh. He was not my choice. Like, now once we had the guys that we interviewed, Dable was my choice out of the guys that we interviewed. I was like, all right, if these are the guys, then Dable. What I wanted Greg Roman. I wanted to see Fitzgerald from Northwestern interviewed. I wanted to see, I forget his name now, but the guy from Iowa. I always forget his name. Whatever. But I wanted that head coach. He just said, I have no interest in an NFL team, so we couldn't interview him. But once we had our crop, Saleh was like this. I did not want Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith was an offensive coordinator for like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden, Matt LaFleur, that was Matt LaFleur's offense. He comes in and kind of takes it over and continues the success. And I just wasn't. I knew Arthur Smith was going to flop. But Saleh was like, okay. I mean, he's a motivator, and all right. I really hope to have another offense. I wanted an offensive guy. I didn't want the one failed experiment with Gase to be like, oh, see, an offensive mind isn't the trick. It was a bad choice. Gase was a bad choice. So I wanted to see the Jets go offensive mind. But like Saleh was like to me, like, okay, he's all the players speak really highly of him. He's clearly very good at what he does defensively. But I got to tell you, I root for him hard, and I like some of the things that he says and does. I'll tell you what really bothers me about him. Two things. The main thing is that he is crazy nuts. Like when we're doing well, he's the super excited guy. When we're doing poorly, he stands there as if he's got, he's got his foot in his mouth. He's like, he just says nothing. He just stands there, 90% of the time. And for me, to me is when a coach earns their keep. When we're down is when you're motivating people. When we're down is when you're running around trying to fix and figure out the solutions. He says nothing. I mean, granted, I don't see him the whole game. Maybe he's doing a little bit more than I see. But I think overall, he just does nothing. That bothers me. I don't like the facade of being this excitable guy, and he's not. But only when we're winning. We call that fair weather. You know what I mean? That's what we call fair weather people. They're only up when we're up. It's like, oh, fucking, how about doing the hard work when we're down, buddy? Get everybody else up. The other thing is this. Well, and in more serious, I don't like that he has no hands in the offense. I hate that shit. I don't know why we can't. Rex didn't touch the offense. Gase didn't touch the defense. Saleh doesn't touch it. What is that? Can we get a real head coach that just has his hands in the whole team? But here's the thing that rubs me. Now, this one isn't as serious, but it rubs me. He needs a get-back coach, okay? That bothers me on such a weird core level. Like, are you telling me as a 40-something-year-old man, a multi-million-dollar-a-year earner, the leader of men, and when something good happens in front of you, you have to pay a guy to grab you by your belt loop and pull you back so you don't break the rules? And then what you do is you throw him around like a fucking rag doll? What is this? I don't understand the get back coach thing. So settle down, okay? Settle down, throw a sack, be a man, own your friggin' responsibilities, and stand behind the line. And if there's a touchdown and you run down the field, nobody cares. And if you get a penalty, nobody gives a shit. Get the penalty. But if during you need this poor guy to hold you, and then you're gonna toss him and just stay behind the line. I don't understand.
Grown man can't control his feelings.
But only the good ones. Only the good feelings.
They can't even hire the right people for the right jobs. The guy's job is to hold them back, and the guy's not able to do it. He hired a guy whose job was to add up yardage, and even though
couldn't do that,
why isn't Rivka? Dude, you know what? If we hired Rivka to make sure that we knew the stats of each player during the game, Brees Hall would have 1,000 yards.
Right. We were saying it we were saying it. We said, okay, 4 more yards. We knew.
So it ended up being 6. So I was still 2 yards off, but I'm way out here. I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia, dude.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Counting it in your head.
The guy said, Saleh, we're good. He made it.
It's like unbelievable.
Nick Shine checking in. Thank you, buddy. You didn't need to do this, man. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Proud New York Jets fan. Just wanted to show a little love to you guys and thank you again for the GoFundMe last year. We did that for you? Oh, I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. That doesn't sound like me.
That
sounds like somebody else, man. Gunny, have a drink, and GreenBean, have a breakfast, sand. No judgment. I know. He wants me to call it pork roll. Since I have more characters to use, Jeremy is an awful sloth.
You can't even spell my name, the loser.
Yeah, you don't know. With the E at the end. Oh, that's good.
4-year-old.
Nick, you're a man among men, dude. You know what I mean? Even among men, you're still the man. And you're a good man. And we love you, bro. I want you to know, say all jokes aside, we love you. So I appreciate this. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not giving Gunny or Jeremy any of it. So they can go have a drink or whatever they want to do. But this is mine. And YouTube's, of course. They're taking 30%, Gunny. That's what they do.
YouTube's going to get their cut.
They take 30%. Just so you guys know. They take 30%. But yeah, Nick, you're the man. Thank you. Who else we got? There was another one, right? Let me catch up.
He heads down in 3 days to Richmond. So,
Oh yeah, Nick, don't forget to reach out to me, dude. Let me know your schedule and everything. I'll come. I'm an hour from Richmond, so I'll come over there. I'll come over there. I'll give you the Jeremy tour of Richmond, where we walk around for an hour and never eat. Okay. Jay Taylor checking in 1018. Sorry, Jay Taylor 1018. Good to see you, Jay Taylor. Been hanging out. It's nice to see you back. I know we're suffering, Jets fans, but having a GM that makes draft selections that make sense is the standard, not something to celebrate. That being said, I agree. I like JD. Dude, you're preaching to the choir, Jay Taylor, but it doesn't matter. It's not what we had. It's what they should do, right? And look, and once again, we'll do the thing that we'll do. We'll all have our pre-draft predictions and we'll do our final mocks and the whole thing. But during the draft, I so wish that I knew that this was going to be the world 10, 15 years ago. Because let me tell you something. We used to do this like on Jet Nation. We would do this stuff. Like we would all, as the draft was going on, we would be in the Jet Nation chat and we would all be saying who we would take. Like now that the board is actually falling in real time. And let me tell you something, dude. For years, like let's say we have 7 draft picks. 4 of my draft picks were contributors every year. Now I would whiff just like everybody else from time to time, of course. But by and large, it just seems like the Jets and so many teams, but the Jets in particular, overcomplicate it to the degree that it makes almost no sense. Like I don't understand what they're even thinking some of the time. Like I have no idea. Like in McCagnon's last draft, and forgive me, I'll have it off a little bit, but he traded like 3 times in the 4th. And all he netted out of that was like a 15-spot jump in the 5th. Like, what's the purpose of the trade? I don't understand. He would trade back 3 spots, trade back a couple more spots, and then he gained 15 spots or something like that in the 5th. I could go back and look at it. But it was something weird like that. And then he ends up taking, what the hell was his name? The tight end from West Virginia, Wesco. After all that moving and shaking, he takes a tight end when we needed a center desperately. Now, none of the centers at that point did too much, but there was still a better swing. It made more sense to take the swing than it did to take a swing on a guy who played for West Virginia and had, his stats were middling at best. So, and I liked Wesco. But, man, Jay Taylor, you make so much sense, but it doesn't matter that we make sense. And you're right, 100% right. It should just be every GM's plan should at least make sense. And sad to say, McCagnon never made sense. No. Never. Idzik, what the hell was Idzik doing? He had 12 picks. That was up to that point. That was arguably the strongest wide receiver class in NFL history. And he took a safety. Was that? Let me make sure. That was 2012, right? The OBJ, right? What year was OBJ drafted? Was 2012?
2000.
Anybody remember?
Either 11 or 12.
Right around there.
For anybody who had Kentucky on their bracket, they just lost to Oakland.
Oakland won?
Oakland just beat Kentucky.
Wow.
That's
so
2 of my brackets busted.
Let me see.
Wow.
It was a 14. That's what it was. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. So let me tell you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Mike Evans, Sammy Watkins. It's so funny. The Bills traded 2 firsts to move up and grab Sammy Watkins, and they passed OBJ, Mike Evans, and everybody. Sammy Watkins. He was the Marvin Harrison Jr. of this draft. Can't miss, Candid. Can't miss. And he was fine. He had a good career. Definitely a good player, but he's no Mike Evans. He's no, all those guys did better than him. But let's see. Yeah, we took Calvin Pryor with our and we should have taken Brandon Cooks. And then the only pick that really made sense was Jay Samaro in the 2nd round. And he had a decent, really good rookie year. I don't know, he fell off a cliff after that, but man, I don't know, dude. And then he just, instead of packaging, like take your 2 6th and move up and get a 4th. Nope. He stood pat, and took every pick, knowing full well I'm not even going to be able to roster some of these guys. Why do it? Fucking crazy, man. Jameson Smith, what's up, man? Thanks for checking in. He says, what would be considered a successful season in 2000? What do you think, Jeremy? What's a successful season?
They have to win. I would even say 12. 11 in a playoff win, I guess, would be okay. But my expectation is 12. And I'm not even going to settle for a playoff win to say that's successful. To me, I don't care. I think there were circumstances for how we finished last year. I honestly believe when I look at this team on paper, I want to be at least in the AFC Championship game. I honestly believe we shouldn't lower our expectations. We have an elite defense. We have Breece Hall. We have Aaron Rodgers. We pieced together a real offensive line with real receivers. I just don't see any reason why we shouldn't be shooting for a minimum of an AFC East Championship game.
I've been screaming that nonstop at work. Anybody who's asked me, I'm like, what do you expect they're just going to do this year? I'm like, AFC Championship game. AFC Championship game to me is a success. Anything less, we didn't achieve what we should have. Again, this is barring a healthy team. If this team is healthy, if this roster is healthy, the way it's been constructed, you're talking about an opportunity right now to legitimately be in the conversation for the AFC Championship game. I would love to win it. But if we lost it, I think I'd be able to say, hey, we had a good run. Anything less than that, I'm with Chaos on this one, man. We've waited way too damn long, and we've put all of our eggs in this basket. Aaron Rodgers is not getting younger. We've got him for maybe 2 more years, even though he's saying 3 to 4. We're talking about hopefully playing at a high caliber for the next couple. And man, he's got 2 first-round wide receivers for the first time in his career to throw the ball to. A stud running back, in Breece Hall, Conklin. Oh, and by the way, this is probably the best defense he's ever had, backing him up as well. We don't need Aaron Rodgers to be the elite Aaron Rodgers of old. We just need good Aaron Rodgers. Great Aaron Rodgers.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
I'll tell you. So Matt Ole, what's up, Matt? It's good to see you. He says, that's okay, Bean. Jeremy answered an entire question thinking we were talking about. I heard that. That's what made me chime in. I was driving. I heard that. I said, wait, what? Why is he talking about? But the question was about Byron Murphy. Jeremy heard Murphy and thought McCarthy. Went on this whole, dude, you should have seen Matt. Matt he couldn't, it wasn't hysterics, but it was like, he just couldn't believe it. He just kept catching it and laughing. It was like it's really a funny moment, man.
It's because it was from Tony, the GM, who's been talking about drafting a quarterback at 10 for the last 3 months, and suddenly he pulled out Murphy out of nowhere.
Yeah. PJC, thank you. There's no comment here, but let me know if you got something. We'll try to keep our eyes open for you. Either way, it's appreciated, man. Do you see something, Jeremy?
I think you may have had a super chat. There's a couple when we went to Nick that may have been missed. I don't know. Did you get Jets Cubs fan? Did you get that one?
Let me see. No, I didn't. You're right. Thank you. Jets Cub fan. That's Jeremy's job on the show. I want you to know that. He's not supposed to let me get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 super chats in before I get back. So I apologize. Not intentional. Jets Cub fans, check. Has anyone heard from Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers? See tweets from a few others, but not them. I saw Garrett Wilson. Yes.
I saw Garrett Wilson.
And Aaron Rodgers is probably doing his spiritual stuff right about now. He was
darkness retreat time. So he's
resting. Retreat, ayahuasca,
Yeah, get his mind and body healed up.
That's right,
for the
man.
New season.
That's right. Nothing wrong with it, man. It's funny. I got people. There's two commenters on my streams who like to say that Aaron Rodgers is a drug addict, and especially for somebody who works in addiction for the past almost 20 years, it's a completely different. It's not drug addiction to go once a year and go to a retreat and do a spiritual journey. Just because it's not. Now, would we judge him for going to a psychiatrist and getting on Paxil or Prozac? No. That's more of a drug addict than what he's doing. So, anyway, Aaron Rodgers, no. Well, we heard from Aaron Rodgers when the whole vice president thing came out, and then they started adding stories about his comments about Sandy Hook and all that stuff. But we didn't hear anything about the vice president. He didn't comment on that. He never did. So I don't know. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to get caught up in the excitement of it. He seems pretty even keel. Like, okay, he seems like a good player. Good, But I'm excited for Aaron Rodgers. But thank you, man. I apologize, Jets Cub fan, for skipping you before. Wyatt, think Saleh is still taking receipt? I think he's definitely taking receipt, bro. Let me tell you something. Saleh, if he gets into that AFC championship, if we were to win the AFC championship game, that 2 weeks, Robert Saleh is going to pull out.
Oh my God.
Right? Like a
Rolodex of receipts.
Yeah, he's going to have a boot locker filled with receipts, just like here. And this is what that son of a bitch said. That's what it's going to be like. I'll tell you, man.
Let's go up one more to, I think Hype had a second super chat as well before.
I got that one.
The one before Jets Cubs fan, you got that one? Okay.
Yeah, I got that one.
Okay, good.
I did Timmy Land Jones. Look, just because you wrote it once, that's what I'm saying. You see me getting past them. You gotta know this stuff, Jeremy. Jeremy's out of practice. He hasn't been here in a month.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's all. It's okay. It's all right. Jeremy broke my brain today. I know. That was funny, man. And then Jeremy danced around the GreenBean GM thing. I didn't like that. I yelled at Jeremy, Matt. I called him. I talked to him later. I said, I didn't appreciate you.
I was better than Matt.
You were better than Matt. Matt tried to be political with that one. But the truth is that if I was the GM, that's why I wish I had all my Jet. I wish I saved everything, every draft I've ever done. You guys would go, holy shit. He's got 35 Hall of Fame players on his drafts. He would have been, Jets would have been best team in the league.
But your biggest one, I mean, and there were some people who had it. You're not the only one, but very few was, and people will lie and say, oh no, I wanted to do that. But you very publicly were for trading that Zach Wilson pick, and not the Niners were willing to give that haul, and you were like, stay with Sam Darnold. You take that haul. You don't pass up on that. And you know what? Even if Sam Darnold doesn't work out, it still would have been better for us to have taken that trade for sure. So
yeah, and you know what? Another solution to that one was for me was I was like, good. Then trade Sam Darnold. Don't take Zach Wilson. Take that trade, and wherever you land in the first, take that quarterback. Take Mac Jones. Take Justin Fields. Take Kyle Trask. They're going to be just as good. Same shit. Take Trey Lance. I believe that if we didn't take Zach Wilson was the Niners' true target. That's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no real facts to support that. But anyway, what do you guys think? What is this? Jeremy, you're not worth knowing. There you go. You're not knowing. Not worth knowing how to spell your name. Let's talk about quickly. We have a few more minutes here. Let's talk about the Brock Bowers thing. So the Jets, as we know, have added, a lot of us said if the Jets can add 3 offensive linemen, which seemed like a pipe dream, 3 starting level offensive linemen, and a starting level, like a legitimate, viable number 2 receiver behind Garrett Wilson, it'd be amazing. And we'd have flexibility in the draft. Well, here we are. Right. And we got a number 2 quarterback, and we got 2 defensive tackles and a cornerback, and our kickers are back, and Kenny Yeboah is here, and Chuck Clark, the safety. We'd like to see maybe a few more guys. Ashton Davis. We lost Jordan Whitehead. We lost Bryce Hall. We lost Bryce Huff. But we have this opportunity now, and the Brock Bowers contingent is really interesting because let me share something with you guys. A lot of people don't know this, but during that Zach Wilson draft, there were a few people that were pounding me about why I should like Zach Wilson, right? Not like you're an idiot, but like, dude, have you looked at this? Have you considered this? That kind of stuff for the whole time, the whole offseason. 2 of those people are now doing the exact same thing with Brock Bowers. It's a funny thing. Like, it's weird. Like, for me, it seems like if you like Brock Bowers, that's fine. I wouldn't be upset if they took Brock Bowers now having had this offseason free agency period. But he's not the guy I want. He's just not. He's not the guy. I don't think that he is a top 10 pick. That's there. I said it. I don't. It's not to say I don't like him. I do. I don't think he's a top 10 pick.
Nope, 100%.
Especially with our tight end room. And I know, but he's not really a tight end. Then why are we calling him a tight end? You know what I mean? Like I get it. He's more of a weapon. I understand, but I'd rather just go with a guy who's defined. And if we didn't have a tight end, I'd be screaming about the tight end because that's my favorite position on the whole damn team. But we have 4 of them. And I think our top 3 is a really nice, strong, well-rounded room. Maybe not star power, but I think it's perfect for our team. So taking Brock Bowers to me seems like well, why wouldn't you just take, Odunze? I mean, Neighbors isn't going to be there. I know we talk about it. Yeah, Harrison and Neighbors aren't going to be there, in my opinion. No. They're not. So you're looking at Odunze, Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin, some of those guys. Why not take one of those guys? That's their position. They'd be great as a number 3 wide receiver on this team. Why any of those guys? So why not do that? Or just, look, we know we haven't had an offensive line start the whole season for fucking 15 years. Why not just do that? So what do you think, Gunny, about the Brock Bowers? Like, number one, would you be upset if we took him? Would you be happy if we took him? Justify either side. What's your stance on this guy?
Yeah, I am off the Brock Bowers train. I'm not sold on the kid. Again, not at 10. Honestly, I look at what he brings to the table in terms of him not really being defined, right? He's a 6'3", 240-pound guy. Everybody's excited about the fact that he can go ahead and run away from slow college linebackers and bully, smaller college safeties. So at the NFL level, when that playing field is not going to be there for him because the safeties are bigger and stronger and the linebackers are bigger and faster, what does he really bring? He's got really nice hands. I'll give you that. Not the cleanest route runner, still has to improve on that. Not the best blogger. In fact, he just gets in the way more so using his current advantage of athleticism. I just don't see it, man. I don't understand. I mean, I get it. He's exciting to watch. The highlights are really cool. But if you really look at him and break it down, if the New York Jets were to use the 10th overall pick on this kid, I think we made a massive mistake. I am still very much team offensive tackle. I think the most important thing that we can do this year is keep freaking Aaron Rodgers upright. And sorry to say it, I don't believe that Tyron Smith is going to go ahead and play a full season. I just don't. Morgan Moses has already gotten a surgery on his pec. Granted, he said he played with it being partially torn all last year, which is just ridiculous because that's painful. But, hey, Warrior played through it and had a really good season last year.
Yeah, he did.
Got it fixed. But nonetheless, he played injured last year, right? So this is the Jets. And for me, we haven't had a healthy starting offensive line since the days of DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, and Nick Mangold. And these are also 1-year contracts. Let's keep that in mind. Tyron Smith and freaking Morgan Moses are on 1-year deals. So I am still very much heavy on team offensive tackle. If the New York Jets chose to bring in Odunze, watching enough tape on that kid, I have definitely fallen in love with this dude. I would be okay with it. I'd be concerned still with the offensive line, but I would love the selection there as well. And if we can't get either one of those guys, for me, Alu Fashanu is the guy that I really want at number 10 if he's there. Rome would be the second guy I would want if he's there. If neither one are there, if we can find a trade back possibility to go ahead and recoup a second-round pick, I would do that. But let's say we can't, right? We can't. I have really started to get really, really keen on this kid, Brian Thomas, 6'4", ran a 4.3 40, 210 pounds. Again, he's relatively raw. This is a guy who hasn't played football that long. Started playing football, I think, in like the 10th grade of high school. But upside is legitimately there. I know some people would say get Fuaga there because he can, play both sides, right tackle, left tackle. But, man, I don't know, man. Looking at Brian Thomas in terms of what he can be, the dude gives me – and dude, I am not saying he's this guy. I am not at all saying, he can ever be this guy. But his playing style reminds me a lot of Calvin Johnson. Just a really big physical guy that can go ahead and run.
There you heard it first, Gunny, comparing him to Calvin Johnson, everybody.
His style, his play style – reminds me of a Calvin Johnson because of his size and his speed, which is kind of freakish. But yeah, I'm all about the offensive tackle option if that's possible for the Jets.
Yeah. it's so funny because as soon as we said that, as soon as I brought up Brock Bowers, Matt O'Leary and Harry jumped on it with the Bauer boys thing, And here he goes. Oh wait, what is that one? I guess I went back too far. 20 Super Bowls. That's right. I would. I know nobody believes me, but it's real.
First ballot
I'll
Hall
get
of Fame GM.
I'm telling you, man. I would still be the GM if they hired me. If they hired me in 2002, I'd still be there. That's how good I'd be.
There'd be no legend Tom Brady. He would be just some guy who maybe won once.
It'd be some guy that my team made cry. That's what that's who to be. Remember that guy, Tom Brady? Yeah. Here come the Bauer boys, Matt O'Leary, and then right after it, you bugging, bro. GreenBean wants you Boa to play. There's a few more in here. Yeah, like Mo Dean says he's got the propaganda going. To seem like I'm telling you, man. It's a funny thing. I don't dislike the player. We're talking about the best player to draft at 10. The Jets feel that's the way to go because we've done enough, whatever, and we can still get a wide receiver in the third, which you can. I think there's going to be plenty of wide receivers that can contribute from the third or fourth spot this year. In the third, at least it looks that way. And I'd be happy with it. I'd be rooting for him. But I don't know, man. He's 235 pounds. So his inline, his blocking inline is going to be very limited. He can definitely, lead around the edge. He can take care of DBs. But even at the NFL level, that's a different job. So, I mean, at 235, he's not a small man, but a tight end. And I just don't know how effective he's going to be. Are we going to have to force feed plays to him? And I don't know, man. Because I don't see him as an every down guy.
No.
So,
and people that keep saying like, oh, he's the next like Rob Gronkowski. Listen, I don't think you understand how big Rob Gronkowski is. This guy was 6'6", 250 pounds. Rob Gronkowski was built different. He can also go ahead and put a defensive lineman on their ass. Like, he's not the next Rob Gronkowski. He's not. Let's stop that right there. Some said, that he's the next Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is 6'5", 245 pounds. Like, he can also be a force in the blocking game. He's not going to be Travis Kelce. I think what it is everybody's so excited about what they saw Travis Kelce do in the Super Bowl last year and help, Patrick Mahomes get to the Super Bowl, what Rob Gronkowski did for freaking Tom Brady. We're thinking, oh, man, we have Aaron Rodgers. So, of course, getting him a great tight end is going to do the same thing. Neither one of those guys were drafted in the first round. Very rarely do the first round tight ends really pan out in the NFL. The same stuff we heard about freaking guys like Kyle Pitts, same stuff we heard about Eric Ebron, Evan Ingram. We're hearing it now. Oh my God, generational freak athlete at the tight end position. He can do it all. And you're going to tell me like, no, his numbers were a lot cuter in college. Well, that's because the college game has changed more so to passing, vice running, like it used to be back in the day when it was running in defense. So I really believe this kid, again, I don't want him as a Jet, period. I wouldn't be happy with the pick in the first round at all, if I'm being honest. But after what I've seen in the offseason with the New York Jets, if for some reason the Jets thought, hey, this is it, this is the guy that's going to take us over the top, and we trade back to pick him up, I think I could live with it. But, man, at 10, there's just – it makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense.
All right. So Euphoria is trying to make me look funny. I didn't say that the 40-yard dash doesn't matter. I said that it's way overvalued, in my opinion.
No, it is.
Completely blown out of proportion. And guys that don't test well, if you've seen their game tape and they're fast and they come and they run a 4.5, and you're like, oh my God, he's not the guy I thought he was. You're not the guy you thought he was 3 years in a row on the field, dominate and burning dudes. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of guys are faster with the ball in the hand, faster with a guy chasing them, game speed, right? I value that more. So it's fun. We talk about it, and it's not that it has no value. But let's take a quick look at the top 11 40-yard dash guys in NFL history. Okay? All right. Now, Fabian Washington. Anybody remember that guy? I think I do remember him.
Vaguely.
Well, hold on. Let me just see his stats real quick. I just want to see how he did. Because there's a few guys that are on this list that 145 career tackles for and 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries for his career. He got a 6-year career. I guess that's decent, but he's one of the fastest ever at the 40, right? So then we got Jacoby Ford. We know Jacoby Ford. How's he doing? Let me see. Anybody remember? Anybody know?
Couldn't tell you. I don't even think he's still in the league anymore. Yeah. Is he still playing?
He appeared in 38 games. He caught 57 passes for 848 yards, 3 touchdowns for his career.
Wow.
But he was fast, though. He was fast at the combine.
4.29, yeah. Now we got...
Fords never last.
What's that? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I saw Nick. He said Fords never last.
J.J. Nelson he had 85 receptions for 1,400 yards in his career. So 85 receptions for his career. But he's the 9th fastest ever. Jalen Merrick, Tyrone Calico, Stanford Route, Marquise Goodwin. I forget. He disappointing. I mean, the Jets. Remember, the Jets wanted to trade up for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me see. Nice career. 191 receptions for 3,000 yards. So not bad, but definitely not.
Not a guy you showed up for.
The top for the 5th fastest 40 time ever, Youthforia. And you got Jerome Mathis, right? You got Dry Archer, Chris John, CJ2K. He had a nice little burst there. Short career, but he made some noise. John Ross, and obviously this year, Xavier Worthy, but John Ross.
Yeah, what did he do with the Bengals?
Nothing.
He was just okay-ish.
He was there. He was present.
Enough that I recognize his name.
He has a career 62 receptions for 957 yards, 11 touchdowns in 5 years. 4 with the Bengals, 1 with the Giants. So that's what I'm talking about, Youthforia. So it's like, again, I like it. I watch it. I value it, but I value much more when people start telling me about 40 times and I look at a guy and they're like, dude, he's ran a 5.4, 440. And I'm like, or a 4.5, 40. I'm like, yeah. Have you ever watched him catch the ball and tear away from
separate?
Yeah.
The football speed and combine speed are 2 different
behind.
things.
There's a different gear, man. And some guys just don't test well. It's not easy to do, dude. You got to put your fingers all weird. You ever watch that stance? What the fuck is that? They got to do their stance on the line.
I think a lot of people don't realize, like, the combine 40-yard dashes they're fun for us to watch as fans, right? But they literally stop doing anything football related and go to speed camps just to go ahead and impress us with their ability to go ahead and run this fast in shorts and a t-shirt.
And the offensive linemen hurt themselves doing it.
Yeah,
doing it exactly.
We saw it this year. Yeah. I mean, and again, like, look, the 10-yard split's a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
How quickly can they get from this point to that point? Especially for offensive linemen, those in the box type of guys, playing in that box. But is it valuable? Yeah, sure. But it's like we place so much value. It's like a status symbol,
It is.
And it's cool. Wyatt says he did 15 pull-ups.
Okay.
Also a record. And we don't do sit-ups anymore. It's now a plank.
So 20 is the goal. So he's getting closer to it. That's what's up.
Well,
that's weird to me.
He doesn't have a lot of weight to pull up, though. He's very skinny and scrawny.
He's
that's lighter weight.
Let me tell you something. I went out to lunch with Wyatt about a month and a half ago,
Yeah.
I met Wyatt and Alan Dodds in Fredericksburg, Virginia for lunch. Wyatt ordered beef stew, everybody, if you want to know. He's definitely a Marine.
Okay.
But Wyatt is taller than me and bigger than me.
Wow.
Yeah. He doesn't
15
look like that
pull-ups.
on the screen.
Yeah.
It's like Jeremy looks like he's 5'6" on this. First time I saw Jeremy, I literally said, "What the fuck? What is that?" I got out of the car. I looked at him. I said, who are you?
You were
What are you doing? You're as tall as I am.
You were expecting Danny DeVito.
Very much. I was expecting to meet Danny DeVito, and Jeremy got out of the car, and he was like, a half inch shorter than me. Crazy. Good shit, Wyatt. Congrats,
I'm
buddy.
not too sure. Was that like a 275, 280 PFC score? Just put it in the chat so I can know how they're scoring it now.
Yeah. Yeah. 3-cone drill is valuable, like Henny C said. When you start looking at the agility stuff, but again, I just the combine is great, and it's where you get kind of refinement. But I say it every year. I've said it my whole football life. I like bloody knuckles. Those are the guys I like. I like guys that are football. I would like, when you get to the end of the draft, Joe Douglas values RAS scores by evidence, as by his late round picks, athleticism, Kuntz, and some other guys, Jonathan Marshall and all that. And I understand that's sound, and you're betting on athleticism, like, stack athletes. I get it. I don't disagree entirely with that, but I prefer guys that, like, if I'm going to take shots at the end of the ground, dart throws, as we like to call them, I'm going to take a dart throw on a Wayne Corbett, on on the guys that are just football play. Like they don't have the speed. They don't, but for some reason they're here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? By all the measurements, he's like, you just don't, what's this guy doing here? He's too short. He's too slow. He's not agile. He dropped the pick. And but I watch him on the field, and somehow he's willing. He hangs. He hangs with everybody, and he's willing to go in. Why is that running back playing linebacker in the fourth quarter? Because the coach said, I need somebody to play linebacker. And the running back said, I'll do it, coach. You know what I mean? Those are the guys I like. I like football players.
Football players. Yep.
And I would rather bet on football players than athletes, than track stars. That's just, right or wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right, even though I tend to be right a lot. I'm still not saying that. Maybe I am, Jeremy. I don't know.
I just want
10:04, dude. This is crazy. 10:05. 10:07.
Oh, 10:07.
You got to get out of here. Phil Adams, what time is it? What time is it over there? It's got to be 2 in the morning.
Like
right?
2 in the morning, right? No, 3 in the morning now. 4 in the morning. We did the math already.
We did this? Yeah, we did this. What did we come up with?
3 or something now.
How could it go if it was going to be 12? Oh, it was going to be 2 before.
It was 2.
So it's 4 in the morning.
So it's 4 in the morning.
And Phil's here, dude. Phil.
Man, Phil, you're crazy, bro.
What are you doing?
Oh, he said 2 a.m. It's 2 a.m. there now.
He's drinking his Earl Grey. That's what he's doing.
Wait, where's Dano? Hold on a second. I gotta highlight a comment to his. Hold on a second. I don't care what it says. Dylan from Jet Nation, everybody. Dylan Terraman. The great Dylan Terraman says, I wasn't sure what to think of Jeremy when I first saw him at the airport. Wait a second. I don't understand. My math is off. Where's Dano? I don't see. Where is he? Is he still in here?
Yeah, he's in here.
I can't find a comment.
He responded to me. He said that Jets cast.
He says, is that O'Leary, but I'm 6'2". I see. That's the last one I see of him.
Oh, no, he calls himself.
Oh, there he is, right here. Yeah, there you go, Dano. We did it, buddy. He said I was ignoring him before. I said, you got to say something good.
He gets very touchy.
I know. I was just busting his balls. There's a lot of guys. It's hard. It's like I get that all the time. People have emailed me and said, like, hey, did I do something wrong? I'm like, I don't know I don't know. I don't.
Remember somebody blamed me because they thought I'm in charge of that. Yeah.
They said Jeremy never puts me up there. He never puts my comments. Yeah, not only no, that wasn't one person. That was a few people that thought that. And I said, no, I got to admit, dude, that's me. I'm doing that. But it's hard. It's hard to do to keep track. The chat moves fast, as you guys know. Like sometimes I'll have this up there. I don't think he's Jeremy Shockey. I don't think so. Jeremy Shockey was massive, dude. Let me see. Jeremy Shockey. Holy shit. What a good pull, though, Brian. That's a good one.
That is a good
Jeremy
one.
Shockey, I hated that he was on the Giants.
The Giants,
Yeah,
yep.
he was a physical.
Long, flowing
He
hair.
was. That dude was different.
He was 6'5", 251
Yeah.
pounds. That's a different
He was a grown
guy.
man. That was a grown man.
He could
Jeremy
carry-
Shockey he preferred
Contact.
to run you over. Yeah, contact.
Love contact.
He preferred, and he was a punk. He was a loudmouth. He was
Yeah.
like rub it in your face.
I loved watching Jeremy Shockey play, man. That dude was just fun to watch.
He told the veteran players to F themselves when they try to do the rookie.
Yeah,
hazing.
the hazing stuff for the rookie hazing.
Yeah.
I was
Not
like,
me. I'm not the one.
I'm not the
he's a
one.
dog. That's the kind of football player you want on your team.
That's my guy. Right. So he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years for the Giants, 3
And then
years
Saints,
for the
right?
Saints, and then last year Carolina. Still had
that's
his
right.
last year, he had 37 receptions for 455. That's a great year for our
Yeah,
tight end.
100%.
He could have carried the saw. Hey, Gunny?
Dude, as a rookie,
Facts.
they
really could have.
they targeted Jeremy Shockey 128 times.
Can't blame him.
He caught 74 of them for 894 yards and 2 touchdowns. But man, he was exciting, dude. They targeted him over 100 times, 3 times, and a 97, 93, a couple. So 5 years, they targeted him at around or over 100 times in the season. Tight end.
Man.
Crazy. Anyway, that's our show, everybody. I got to get the hell out of here. What am I doing? I got to get up. Either way, this is a nice week for us. We got Mike Williams. We got our offensive line fixed. I still think there's work to do. I like the idea of signing Bakhtiari as kind of a backup. That's great backup. 2 injured guys. You know what I mean? And if you're going to do something like that, then Weapon in the first makes tons of sense to me. Weapon, I'd be fine. My optimal draft as I stand right now is sliding back, recouping a second or a third. If you slide back like 3 spots with the Raiders, get a third, then you can package a third and fourth, jump up into the back end of the second kind of a thing or whatever. I'm really fine with that. And if you get into the middle of the first round and you take your wide receiver or you take a Fatanu's there or Mims or whatever, whatever you do, I'm going to be fine with. In my opinion, I think we got a good start here. But for Gerald, Gunny, you got anything coming?
Yeah. Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. You can come hang out at the hangar with Gunny. Got the live stream going. We're going to be doing a viewers motivated mock draft. So pretty much, I'm gonna have my guest Dom C with me. We're gonna go ahead and do a mock draft for the entire first round. Difference is the audience is going to be drafting each pick, and me and Dom will give our takes on what we think about those picks. Should be a good time. Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Central. Hopefully, I see y'all there.
There you go. Make sure you check out Situation Report. Link is in the description of this video if you want the quick way just to go over there and sub to Gunny. Jeremy, what do you got, bud?
Jets chaos. There'll be videos coming out. I'm going to do some more analysis, player film. Maybe we'll look at Bowers, Neighbors, Adunze, start figuring out what we should be doing with this number 10 pick. And after this show, right when you get out of here, don't go to Proud New York Jets fan. There's nothing going on over there. Matt O'Leary's not going to be there. So just avoid that.
Don't feel bad for him.
And don't watch that channel.
That's good. And guys, yeah. Don't forget about our draft party, Talking Jets draft party, April 25th, Farmingdale, Long Island at the main event. 3 hours of open bar, 3 hours of all-you-can-eat buffet. Jeremy's going to be there. I'll be there. Matt O'Leary, Ryan will be there. Other special guests, lots of giveaways like Tailgate Joe, tailgate package, in addition to Jets tickets that are good Jets tickets, by the way. And everybody gets a T-shirt specific to the event. So only a handful of people will ever have this T-shirt. You could be one of them. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. I can't wait to be there, dude. Tickets are on sale. TalkinJets.com. The link to that's in the description as well. Don't forget to like the video on the way out. If you're watching on Twitter, please consider giving a follow to little old Green Bean. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, that would also be greatly appreciated. Guys, have a great night. With that all said, we will see you all next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man.
I want to kiss you. Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over there and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.